Hi guys, you are listening to the 20 something and trying podcast, and I am your host, Laura J. Thank you so much for listening. Hey guys, welcome to the second episode. Thank you so much for coming back. Today we're going to be talking all things friendships. This is making friends, losing friends, friendships fading, friendship breakups, anything you can think of. We're talking all things friends. So I asked you guys on Instagram on both my personal, which is at Laura J, and the podcast Instagram, which is at 20 something and trying pod, if you guys had any questions for me, statements, opinions, like anything you wanted about friendships in your 20s, whether it be making friendships or falling out with friends or how to become a better friend, anything like that. And you guys came through. There was so many comments, and I looked through all of them and picked out the ones that kind of kept coming up, maybe like worded a little different, but like kind of kept coming up. And I DM'd a few of you back for ones that maybe were perhaps a little bit niche or kind of personal, and I just wanted to really give you my personal advice on the situation. But I pulled together about 10 questions that we're going to go through today. So let's get straight into it. So, the first question is how to feel okay about not having a big friendship group. And first off the bat, my initial response would be it truly is quality over quantity. Like, it does not matter how many friends you have if they are rubbish friends. Truly, you want the good quality people that make you feel good and are there by your side all the time and do whatever they can to be a good friend. It truly, truly is quality over quantity. However, I can understand sort of feeling left out or feeling like, oh, I really wish that I could go join in, do these big group holidays or group activities like camping trips and things like that. I would say, firstly, don't miss out on it just because you don't have a big friendship group. I'm sure you have one friend, maybe one or two friends that might want to do a holiday or a camping trip or a big activity. And even if not, do it on your own. Like, do not miss out on anything just because you feel like you can't do it because you don't have the friends. That's probably my first bit of advice towards it. I would maybe say, secondly, big friendship groups are not all they're cracked up to be. Like, I promise you, there is probably so much bitching going on, talking behind each other's backs, so many arguments, people cheating, people getting with each other's boyfriends. Like, honestly, it's not always there are anomalies to that, obviously, but it's not always what it's cracked up to be. I think another side of it could also be maybe worrying about perception and what other people might be thinking of you. And if that is the case, I promise you, I've never once scrolled through Instagram or just been reminded of a person somehow and thought, oh, she doesn't really have any friends. Like, there's just not something that people think about, and it is so easy to be in your own head and think that everybody is thinking about what you're doing and if you're out at the pub every night with people or going on group holidays and things like that. But I promise you, they are not, in the most respectful way possible. Like, they're not thinking about it. I promise no one cares about your life as much as you think they do. You care more than anyone else. The next one that kept coming up quite a lot is my boyfriend is my only friend. Am I the issue? Am I the problem? Am I toxic? Like, things along those lines. And I would definitely say there is two sides to the argument. On the one hand, I think that sometimes, yes, you can be the problem, and maybe a good way to self-reflect on whether you might be the issue is to sit down and write a list of things that you think make a good friend, like how often they should reach out and how often they should ask to meet up with you, and just qualities that you think a good friend should have, and maybe self reflect on whether you are actually being that friend. Maybe that's what you want, but you're not actually doing that. Because I think it is really easy, especially at the start of a relationship, to get wrapped up in the honeymoon stage and whisked away, and your relationship becomes your number one priority and everything else kind of falls away. And that is common, that is normal. And maybe you have accidentally done that, and maybe some little self-reflection could do you some help. However, I will also say that there is a very common narrative where if you don't really have any lifelong girlfriends, or if your boyfriend is your only friend, that you are the problem, that you are toxic. And I have lifelong female friends. Like, my female friendships mean more to me than anything. Like, I absolutely adore them. They are so deep rooted and they are absolutely fundamental to who I am. But being someone with them friendships, I can still confidently say that that's not always the case. Sometimes you genuinely do just fall into the wrong set of friends, and you keep trying and trying and trying. And I think there is so many different personality types that you can have through anyone, but especially in girls. Like, for boys, making friends tends to be a little bit easier. Like, they can speak about sports or cars and there's normally a common ground. But with girls, there's so many different calibers of personality types and things that we're interested in and hobbies, and just there's so much. The politics of being a girl is absolutely insane, and it's really, really easy just to fall into the wrong type of people, and that is not always your fault. And sometimes people seem really great at face value and seem really like you guys would get on really well, and then a couple years down the line, or couple months down the line, true colours start being revealed and you are left with no friends except for your boyfriend. And that just happens. Like, it is just life, and I don't think that you are necessarily always the problem or always the issue or the toxic person. I also think for most people in their 20s, you're getting into a relationship now because you want to marry this person or you want to be with them for the rest of your life. And it is so important when doing that that you pick your best friend. You pick the person that you have the most fun with, that you laugh the most with, that you want to spend all your time with. And as a friend, I think that that is something that you just have to kind of accept for your friends and want for your friends, that they're going to find that love that they want to be spending all that time with. And you can both very easily, in my opinion, be simultaneously a good partner and a good friend at the same time. Like, you don't have to pick one or the other. But I do think that as a friend, I would want all of my friends to find a love where that is their best friend and that they are laughing all the time, and they never have to ask for that person to be a good partner. They just are. And that's another side of it, of if you have that with somebody and if you have that with a partner, then that's completely fine. Like, it might be kind of concerning if they're your only, like, well and truly your only friend. You don't have any friends from childhood or college or your first job or your second job or uni or any walk of life. Like, you don't have any friends, then maybe, yeah, it is a little bit concerning. But if you just have picked a relationship with your best friend and you want to spend all your time with them, like, I don't really see an issue with that. I think, I don't know, there's obviously layers to it, and I think it's less of a question that I can answer without directly knowing these people, and more of a thing where you have to self-reflect on whether you think you're being a good friend. The next question that came up probably the most was how to get over a friendship breakup, and I think that this is such an underestimated pain. This is such an overlooked, overshadowed, like, just not spoken about enough type of pain. For me personally, I would say I might have had friendship breakups when I was like 11, 12 sort of thing, but anything like substantial from sort of being an adult, being 18 plus, I've probably only really had one, and it was equal to, if not more painful than breakups that I've had. Like, it's such an underrated, there's not movies really about it, there's not songs about it, whereas an actual breakup, like, you have all of these songs and all of these movies where it like replicates how you feel, and you don't get that with a friendship breakup. And I think it's so under talked about. So how I would actually go about getting over a friendship breakup, I would say treat it no different to a relationship breakup. Like, this is still somebody that you've really gotten to know, and you've given yourself, like, given parts of yourself to them, and they've given parts of themselves to you, and you have built habits where you might text each other all the time or call each other or see each other really regularly, and now you have all this time and all this space that feels empty. And I would say just give yourself so much grace and so much kindness and so much just time to heal. If you need to go sit in bed and cry about it, go sit in bed and cry about it. I think all of the cringy things, all of the like cliche things of give yourself a self-care day, like put a face mask on, be just kind to yourself, like do what you would want a friend to do, what you would do to a friend, like do back to yourself, sort of thing. Another way to kind of get over it is a healthy amount of distraction. I think it's important to not over distract yourself to the point where you're not feeling the emotions and you're filling up your time so much that you're actually not sitting and accepting and dealing with what's happened, but also not just sitting in that all the time, or watching sad movies that make you sad, or listening to sad songs that make you sadder. I think it's important to have healthy distractions, have hobbies, see other friends, strengthen other friendships, and distract yourself in a healthy way. The next question is, what if I want to be friends with people older than me? There was quite a few of these of what if my best friend is a 50-year-old? What if I get on well with people in their 30s? Like, what if I tend to not gravitate towards people my age? And I'm going to say for younger and older, I truly don't think that age is a contributing factor to a friendship. I think as long as you're not underage and there is obviously a level of safety and awareness that needs to obviously be thought about, and that just goes without saying. Okay, so we're gonna block out any creepy vibes and just talk about this as this is just a genuine innocent. You might be 21 at work and the person sitting next to you is 51 and you just click. And I think that if we're just talking about innocent, genuine friendship, then age just isn't a contributing factor. For me personally, I've always felt like I was older than I was, and sometimes a detriment to me. Like sometimes that was not what I needed, and I was like 17 acting like I was 21, and it wasn't good. But I've always felt, literally since I was a kid, that I was older than I was. I remember being a kid and everyone in my year was watching Disney Channel and things like that, and we didn't have Disney Channel, so I was watching How I Met Your Mother and Friends and sitcoms and things when I was 7, 8 years old, and I then grasped that humour really quickly, and always just felt like a lot of situations in my life and in my childhood have always just matured me to be or to feel older than I am. And I've always gravitated towards people that are older than I am, and I just think there's nothing wrong with that. I think if you are someone that just genuinely just sees eye to eye with people that are older than you, like you do not have to worry about an age in a friendship. There's a lot of wisdom and advice and just things that you can learn from people older than you. I also feel like sometimes it's nice to have an older figure in your life that isn't your parent or isn't your older sister. Like they have no relation to you and they are truly just your friend, but you have an older figure, like a guidance figure, and somebody that can give advice and make you feel really comforted. And I just don't think there's anything wrong with that, and it's nothing to worry about. Sometimes I see how it can be frustrating sometimes, especially if you're still in school or things like that, where you are stuck in an age group category and you feel like you can't come out of it and you don't really relate to people your age. I've definitely felt that probably majority of my life, of not relating to people that my age. So the next question I again would probably say is the second most popular one that kept coming up, all along the lines of all of my friends are in relationships and I feel really lonely, like what do I do? Or do I, like, I just feel like I'm on the outside. And I would say my first thing, if you have a friendship group and they're all in relationships, like you're the only person that's not, please don't disinclude yourself. Please don't not involve yourself in activities that they might do. If you are invited, please go, because I've had like last year and the year before, I had a little group of friends where every couple of months we might all go to the pub or just do something together, and it's majority relationships, and there's just a couple of people that are single. And I would have been so gutted if them people did not come out with us because they felt uncomfortable, or because they felt like they were fifth wheeling or seventh wheeling or however many wheels there are. Like, I would have been gutted because they're my favourite people. I love seeing them, I love hanging out with them. So that's probably my first and foremost, is like, your friends love you with or without a partner. They are friends with you and they want you to show up. So first and foremost, like, do not disinclude yourself. If you feel like you're disincluded and plans are being made without you for the couples and things like that, unfortunately, I do think that that is just something that happens when people get into couples, that they into relationships. They get excited to have other couples to like go on double dates with and things like that. And I would say just put a lot of energy and a lot of time and commitment into strengthening other friendships. And then people should, if they are good friends, still really want to include you and hang out with you, and they might do a couple of things separate with their couples, but like, they should want to be around you and have you involved in it. And it might just be that you go spend a little bit of time with some other friends in the meantime. If you have really good friends, they should still be including you as much as they can anyway. So the next one is, how can I maintain friendships if I don't drink at work parties? There was a lot around alcohol, which I think maybe if I have the guts to do it, I might do a whole separate video on some of my alcohol opinions. There were so many questions about just how do I know if these friends are only like party friends, and how do I keep friends if I don't want to drink, and how do I keep work friends if I don't want to drink at work parties, anything like that. Breaking it down into the different categories. So work parties, I think, for one, if you don't want to go to the work party because you don't like being involved, don't like being around drunk people, don't like everyone drinking and pressuring you to drink or asking why you're not drinking, things like that, don't go. Like, do not feel like you need to go. There's other ways to keep work friendships, and you guys can go out for lunch, or you can go out for coffee, or you can invite them out for dinner, or to an activity after work or before work or in your lunch hour. And there's so many more ways. And if you don't think you're going to enjoy the work party, don't feel pressured to go. Some people do just like drinking, and that's that. But I think a lot of people, especially in a work environment, drink because they are nervous, drink because they want some confidence. And I would say work on that skill sober. Like, work on how you feel confident in a room full of people, work on how to not feel nervous if you're talking to people, how to not feel shy, and let that be your focus of not, oh my gosh, these people aren't going to like me if I don't drink and stuff like that. Just focus on being like, oh, okay, I need to come in, I need to just be confident, have fun from the get-go. Like, I'm not going to be drinking, so I'm not going to have a surge in an hour's time where I'm allowed to be awkward for an hour, and then in an hour's time I'll relax. Like, no, you're not going to have that. So you just need to go in from the get-go and feel good and confident about yourself. As for maintaining friendships, just do things with them that don't involve alcohol. As I say, invite them to lunch, go for a coffee, go out for dinner. Like, there's so many things you can do that don't involve drinking to help maintain those friendships. You just kind of have to be the brave one that initiates them. In terms of just, I guess, maintaining friendships where alcohol is involved a lot, and maybe there's nothing you can do about it, maybe it is your whole friendship group and they all drink and you're the only one that doesn't and you don't want to be left out, or perhaps it is something like a work party. I would say maybe just, if you want to, grab a little mocktail and like feel like you're involved. If people start talking about shots, you can always ask the bartender for like shots of mocktails and things like that. I've done that so many times if I want to be involved in the games but don't want to be drinking, or want to be involved in the atmosphere but like don't want to be drinking. You can always do it in a non-alcoholic way, and putting yourself in the circle. Like, if you really care about maintaining these friendships and you truly don't mind being in a setting where people are drunk and you're sober, I think just involve yourself. Like, you can't go I think don't go if you're going to go into it and you're going to feel a bit moody and a bit down and a little bit grumpy. You're better off just not going. If you're going to go, you need to throw yourself into it. Laugh at the people that are drunk. Don't get annoyed at them. Like, you just have to accept that that's the way that it is and enjoy it. Okay, the next one is, my friends don't support me. If I mention it, they deny it, but it's true. My friends don't support me. If I mention it, they deny it, but it's true. Okay, sorry, had to read that one twice to get it. But ultimately, I would just say they're not good friends. If you have friends that don't support you, that don't cheer on your achievements or highlight your endeavors, and like really, if you're gonna start a new business or start a podcast, or I don't know, like if you're graduating, if you're getting engaged, if you're having a baby, or starting a TikTok channel, or starting a YouTube channel, or starting a TikTok, like anything, or going to be a PT trainer, or posting gym content, or anything. I don't care if your friends have no interest in the gym whatsoever. They should be sitting there reposting everything, liking, sharing your new business, or sharing your Instagram stories, like doing anything they can to show up and show their support. I think that's just the bare minimum of being a friend. And if you aren't getting that, then they're just not good friends. And it's okay to let go of the friendships if you just don't feel like you're getting the support back. I think also, if you have mentioned it and you have said like, oh, I'm really disappointed, like I really wish that you would have shown up for me in this way, or you would have supported me here or helped here, or however, like you have mentioned it and they're just saying no, that's not true, they're denying it, or they're not taking any accountability, then they're just not friends that you need to be around anyway. They're not friends that sound worth it to me. Like, I don't think that makes a good friend, and I think you're so much better off with people that are in your corner, that are gonna support your every move and be your biggest fan, even if they have no care for the topic or the business or whatever. They just do it anyway because they love you. That's what being a friend is. And if you have friends that don't support you and then on top of that deny it when you bring it up, they're just friends that aren't worth having. Okay, guys, sorry about that. There was a bit of a technical difficulty there. I ran out of storage, so hoping that hasn't cut off too much. I'm going to start again with this next question and hope that I finish the my friends don't support me if I mention it, they deny it question. The next one is, if I stopped reaching out to people, I would have no friends. And this one is really difficult for me because I definitely understand it, I definitely feel it, and I definitely relate. I think there's a lot of people that I've given the excuse where, oh, once we meet up, we have such a nice time, or when we message, we have such a nice time, or once we call, like it's always like a really good laugh, but it's always me reaching out. And I think first things first is just talk to that person about it, and maybe they just haven't realised, maybe they've very innocently had a lot going on and they just genuinely didn't notice, and they will pull their finger out their ass and start being a really, really good friend. However, if you mention it and nothing really comes from it and you're still in the exact same place, I would say just give the energy you get back and stop reaching out, stop phoning, stop making plans. And it is really hard, it is sad, and obviously you want to have plans and you want to be chatting to people and things like that, but I think one of two things will happen, and maybe that person just needed a wake up call and has realised how much effort you've put in, and it might take a month, it might take them 6, but they'll go, oh my gosh, I've been such a bad friend, like let me put in some effort. Or you guys will just fade out. And I think although that can be really sad and really hard, ultimately it's not worth having a friendship where it feels one-sided and it feels like it's always you, because that will have its own detriment on you and that will have its own effect, and obviously just won't feel good. You won't feel nice doing that. Okay, guys, the camera is seriously struggling. I ran out of storage again, which is so disappointing because I pay so much money for storage. So I'm going to speed up these last two questions. This one is actually one of my favourite questions that got asked, is what kind of friend do you think every girl in their 20s needs? And I think there's maybe like 2 or 3 attributes that are so important to a friend in their to be a friend in your 20s. And the first one we've touched on a little bit, and it is being supportive. I think it is so important in your 20s, is normally the time when you're starting new business adventures or starting podcasts, another shout out, or you're just doing scary things to build your future that is new and terrifying, and you just need friends that are going to support you with that, need friends that are going to shout you out, hype you up, like make you feel like what you're doing is incredible, and yeah, just a great supportive friend. Another one would probably be a therapist friend, a good advice giver, a person who really, really listens to you, and they're not they're just willing to speak to you about tough things. They'll tell you when you're wrong, they'll tell you when you're right. They'll say like, oh, I think you should have handled that differently. Like, huge difference between hype man and yes man. Like, hype man is just your like makes you feel good about yourself and is really supporting what you're doing. A yes man is like supporting your dumb decisions. So just point blank on paper, like you're gonna go kiss your ex in a club and you've got someone going, yeah, sure, go do it. Like, you don't want them friends. You want the friends that are pulling you back and going, no, that's so fucking stupid, don't do that, you're gonna really upset yourself, like do not do that. I think ultimately a supportive friend, a good advice, a good listener. I think it's important to have a fun party friend. Not everyone has to be your best perfect friend, and it's important to have someone that you can invite to an event, invite to a party, and you just know that you're gonna have a good time with them no matter what. If alcohol's involved, if it's not involved, like you're not gonna fight, you're not gonna fall out, like you're just always gonna have a good time. They're gonna be a good laugh, like all that jazz. I think they're probably the most important things that I take in a friendship, and someone that puts in effort, of course. Again, something that we've touched on a little bit today. Someone that just puts in effort, makes you feel seen, makes you feel wanted. And yeah, I would say that that's the kind of friend a girl in their 20s needs. Okay, so the last question, I've screenshotted like a statement that says making friends at school versus in your 20s. I'm going to take that as, what do you think is different about making friends in your 20s versus at school? Okay, guys, unfortunately, if you are watching on YouTube, it has gone to a black screen because we have completely ran out of storage and there is nothing I can do, despite the fact that I pay about £15 a month for this damn storage and it just doesn't work. But there is nothing I can do to keep recording. However, I can keep up on the voice recording. So for making friends at school versus in your 20s, I think it's just a completely different playing field. Everyone is in such a different place in life. Everyone has got different priorities in their 20s. You've got people that are married, you've got people that are having kids, you've got people that are still clubbing every weekend. Like, everyone is in such a different stage of life more than ever anything in their 20s, like more than they are in their 30s, 40s, 50s, like any other period of time. Like your 20s, just everyone is completely utterly different, and it's really difficult to know that if you're going to be on the same page as someone, because on paper you might be like, oh, we're both 22-year-old girls, we both come from Essex, like we should get on. But you might have one 22-year-old that's going out drinking every weekend and another one that has kids and is married. Like, it's just completely different. Like, everything is different, and it is really difficult. I think a lot of people feel that way. A lot of people feel like it's difficult, and you're not alone if maybe you feel like a bit of a loser, being like, oh, I have no friends and it's so difficult. Like, you're not alone in that feeling, and ultimately it is just about strengthening the few friends that you have. I think as your 20s go on, you will probably get less and less friends and more friendships will fade over time, and I think it is just so important to put all your effort and energy into being a good friend to the ones that really matter. I guess that's what I have to say on that. So that brings us to the end of another episode of 20 something and trying. Thank you guys so much for listening. This is probably the longest episode we might ever do because I really have well and truly rambled on. So thank you guys so much for listening, and tune in for the next episode of 20 something and trying. If you guys are watching on YouTube, please like, comment and subscribe, and if you are listening on Spotify, please follow, like, comment, share, and come back next week for another episode of 20 something and trying. Bye!